You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
Well, guys, this should not surprise you at all. It shouldn't surprise you. Now, you guys know that two former NBA players have declared for the WNBA draft. And one of them is actually Royce White, who was drafted by my Houston Rockets in the first round in 2012. He said that I sometimes identify as a woman for the purposes of basketball. Other words, he's saying he's gender fluid. Now, by the left's own definition, folks, that's supposed to be perfectly okay, right? The left is supposed to be accepting of these two men who want to identify now as women. Enes Kanter Freedom has already submitted paperwork to the WNBA to officially declare for the WNBA draft. But we knew, folks, and I talked about this, these leftists, they're not very tolerant of this because they don't practice what they preach. Now, the left, man, they're pretty violent. These people are violent. Not a shocker to anyone that's been paying attention. Remember, Charlie Kirk got assassinated by a deranged leftist. Now, guys, they're going after Royce White. Yes, they want him dead. I thought it was perfectly okay for a black man to identify as a woman. But oh no. And you know what, guys? It was pretty much proof a few weeks back when President Trump was actually at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And he made a joke. He compared Caitlin Collins of CNN to Dylan Mulvaney. They look pretty similar. And since Trump actually compared Caitlin Collins to the transgender, the left lost their mind. They lost their mind because Trump compared Caitlin Collins to Dylan Mulvaney. I thought that it was stunning and brave that Dylan Mulvaney came out as trans. But when Royce White decides to come out as trans and wants to play in the WNBA, they lose their mind and they want him dead. Let's go ahead and dive into it, guys. Here we go. Right over here. Ex-NBA player and WNBA hopeful Royce White claims to be receiving death threats. Not a surprise. And by the way, he also plays in the Big Three, by the way. Says here, Royce White made headlines when a former NBA hooper announced his intention to become a WNBA player. However, not everyone is thrilled. Amidst a slew of WNBA athletes and officials either signaling their willingness to accept males into their league or keeping silent for fear of political retribution, online or physical violence on the court, looking at you, Caitlin Clark, two former NBA players, Royce White and Enes Kanter, have announced their intentions to join the WNBA. Some online, however, have become enraged by White and Kanter's declarations and are letting their feelings be known. In an interview with influencer Benny Johnson, White says some have taken to threatening him. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised whatsoever. These people virtue signal, but in reality, they're not very tolerant. This is the post and clip from Benny Johnson here. Former NBA star Royce White reveals he is getting death threats from the left after declaring for the WNBA draft. Yeah. Let's listen in.
So I do want to ask, like, how has your journey been so far? How has your reception been announcing for the WNBA draft? We just went through the rules of the WNBA. There is no rules that exclude you from joining the WNBA right now. And in fact, many players say that they want transgender individuals to be playing on their team or against them. They welcome it. The coaches are saying that. The league has stated that, and so we expect you to be welcomed with open arms. Is that going to happen?
We would hope so. We would hope they live up to their values and their principles in the WNBA community. The pushback has been unprecedented for me. The hate. I mean, I've never received so much hate. As a black man, I thought I was the victim of oppression, but being the first, prospectively, one of the first black, sometimes identifying as a transgender lesbian, the hate is unreal.
I thought that I thought that this would be an accepting community, and this is all I've ever heard is that I need to accept these people and who and what they identify as, and it can change. There's no rules, it can just kind of change at all times, and so it seems like you're playing by those rules, yet you're being attacked for it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's some really vicious stuff. You should commit suicide. You're a piece of crap. Your mother should be ashamed of you. I had one person tell me they were going to find me and pistol whip me until I piss on myself. I was just thinking, wow.
Whoa.
Unreal, the amount of hate that's out there for trans. I never understood it. All these times I've been a conservative pundit, and I talked about this issue. I never really understood just how much hate there is for trans people. It's just a shock to me that mostly it's coming from the left. And you can tell because I go to their social media profiles, try and get a feel for who I'm talking to. And, they got all their party line Democrat content on their posts. And, they're Kamala Harris supporters, or they had the trans flag and whatnot. And, it's been a real shock. It's been very eye-opening. I'm very empathetic now for what all my fellow trans Americans and trans people all over the world must deal with on a daily basis.
Yeah, you would actually be thinking that the left would be celebrating a man, especially a black man, transforming into a woman. But oh no, they're not happy about it. These people are frauds. They are complete frauds. And the WNBA also, they're frauds too. Because if they actually abide by what the players and the coaches are saying, they wouldn't need any meetings whatsoever on what is a woman. They wouldn't need it. They should just let everything flow, folks. But they're not going to do it. The WNBA is going to do everything in their power to actually keep these two players out of the league. They're going to do everything in their power because the WNBA, they truly don't believe in trans inclusion in that sport. It's perfectly okay for any other sport, right? That's why they virtue signal. But when it comes knocking on the door to the WNBA, all of a sudden now, we must have a meeting. We can't let this happen. This is what they're saying. They can't let it happen. We can virtue signal about it, but we really don't believe in what we're actually saying. That's what the WNBA is doing, folks. They're hypocrites. They are complete hypocrites, and these leftists are insane. They're deranged. They're wishing death on a WNBA prospect whose name is Royce White, who sometimes identifies as a transgender woman for the purposes of basketball. They don't care about his gender fluidity, folks. They don't care. Unreal. That's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think of this? Black and white sports fans, let us know what you think about all this in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.